Hey guys, I wasn't originally planning on making a video today, but I felt really inclined to make a video talking all about Nvidia and the possibility of Nvidia actually announcing a stock split very soon. So that's what we're going to do. Nvidia is kind of the hot stock right now, and it has been for quite a while, honestly. The whole of 2023, Nvidia was performing extremely well. It felt like it was kind of moving the market. Whatever Nvidia did, all the other tech stocks, all the other AI related stocks followed suit, and that doesn't really seem to be slowing down so far in 2024. At time of recording this video, I can see that Nvidia stock is up by about 236% over the last 1 year. Over the last 6 months, 69%, which is obviously crazy. And if I just look over the last 1 month, 33% up. Crazy. And of course, just wait, let's go to 1 month. Just from earnings to now, which is a matter of days, the stock is currently up by about 18%. And we also can't ignore the fact that Nvidia has recently actually reached all-time highs. And that's happened after a crazy 2023. So clearly they are seeing phenomenal growth and absolutely extraordinary momentum. I think so far, and don't quote me on this, but I remember reading a couple of days ago that so far in 2024, Nvidia is the best performing stock out of the whole S&P 500. And if that is the case, I'm really not surprised. So if we cast our minds back to just a matter of days ago, Wednesday, the 21st of February, we had Nvidia announce their Q4 earnings. This was potentially the most highly anticipated earnings of this earnings season so far. And that's because, like I said, Nvidia have been building a lot of momentum. They've been getting a lot of attention. The stock has been doing absolutely crazy things. They're leading, or at least it feels like they're leading this AI hype, this AI bubble, this AI boom. And I don't mean that negatively, because I very much believe AI is here to stay. I don't think it's going to just go away. I don't think it's hype or anything like that. But they're kind of leading that. And we've seen before with their last earnings, when they had good results, other stocks then rallied off of that. So there was a lot of pressure building, a lot of momentum. A lot of people that are bullish on Nvidia and Nvidia for the long term really felt like they would release very good earnings. Because of everything that's been going on, the demand for their products is insane. What they've got coming, like there's loads of reasons why we all thought that that would happen, and it absolutely did. There were some people that were thinking, okay, there is no way that Nvidia can beat estimates, considering estimates were quite high, honestly, and then have another stock price surge. But they absolutely did, and then some. On Thursday, the day after the earnings came out, Nvidia stock had a surge. It went crazy. On that 1 day of trading, Nvidia added an entire Netflix, which is obviously a big deal, to its market valuation. That is how much they grew in 1 day. Now, when a company's stock price goes up very rapidly over a very short space of time, they may then consider doing a stock split. So before I speak about why Nvidia might do a stock split and what that will actually mean for them, let's just break down exactly what a stock split is with examples. So companies can do a stock split, and they can also do a reverse stock split. But just for this video, we're going to be focusing on just normal average stock splits. So this is basically just when a company makes a decision, they decide to divide their shares into multiple shares. So let's just say you invest into a company, whatever company that is. For argument's sake, we are going to call that company H2O, just because I can literally see some water in front of me. And 1 share of H2O stock is worth $200. This is hypothetical, but this is just to explain what a stock split is. So if you, as an investor, have $1,000 that you want to invest into the H2O stock, you will get 5 shares, because each share is worth $200 and you have $1,000 to spend. That's obviously not taken into account any transaction fees or anything like that. Let's just keep it super simple. Then let's say H2O stock goes crazy well. It shoots up in a short space of time because, hey, the demand for this magic substance H2O is off the charts. Everyone seems to need it and want it, odd that. So it's gone up, and the company announced that they are going to do a 2-for-1 stock split. I picked 2-for-1 just because that is the most common. It's the one you hear about the most, but we'll talk about what's possible for Nvidia a bit later. This then means that 1 share of H2O stock then becomes 2. So for you as an investor who owned 5 shares of H2O stock, you would then own 10 shares. However, each of these shares are no longer worth $200 per share. Instead, they are now worth $100. So instead of having 5 shares at $200, you now have 10 shares at $100. So the overall value of your shares has not changed. So that's really important. Although the number of shares increases by a specific multiple, the total dollar amount that's actually invested, the value of those shares, is exactly the same pre-split as it is post-split. And it's also not changing any unrealized profits either. So if it isn't changing anything, why do companies even bother doing them? Well, that's a really good question. Put really simply, it's because the stock has become too expensive per share for investors. It basically means that for an investor, purchasing that stock, investing into that company becomes less accessible. This is why they tend to happen after a stock has had a really quick and large increase in the stock price. It's deemed that it's become too expensive per share. That's not accessible for a lot of investors. They announce a stock split, bring the share price back down, more people can then invest in. That's the premise of it. However, you probably are already thinking about this, but hang on a minute. I can actually invest into Nvidia, whether it's $500 per share or $1,000, because I can get fractional shares. Absolutely right. That wasn't always the case. People didn't always have the ability to have fractional shares, and actually some platforms still don't offer them, which is kind of surprising. But even though it is feasible to do this, you can just buy part of a share if you can't afford a whole one, fine. It's all about how attractive that stock is psychologically for potential investors. It's all about the mind, as a lot of investing really is. When a stock is cheaper, people sort of see that and think that that investment is therefore way less risky. It just makes it feel more affordable, especially for beginner investors or investors that don't have a ton of capital to be throwing at, these stocks that have a really high share price. This then means that in theory, doing a stock split should then bring in more investors' money. And honestly, it often works that way too. They also do it to increase liquidity. Liquidity just meaning how easy it is, how quick it is to buy or sell any asset. So for example, stock. And often, stock splits are done when a company is doing very well. And that's a big indication to us investors. If management of a company is deciding to actually split its stock, it's often because that stock is at a high level and they see further growth happening. Now back to Nvidia. I actually started buying Nvidia shares back in December last year, and I've been buying them slowly ever since, which means right now, even though I don't have a ton of capital actually invested into that position, it is still doing very, very nicely indeed. Not taking any profits at the moment, but the reason I actually decided to start a position in Nvidia was because I was looking at the sector trends. I was looking at the analysis of sector trends, and then I started researching the stock, and bam, I came to the conclusion that this would absolutely be a great investment to make. If you're wondering how I did that, how I landed on that conclusion, I share all of that, my step-by-step research process and much more in my workshop, which I will link in the description below. Nvidia have done stock splits in the past. In fact, they've actually done 5 of them before. The last one coming in 2021, specifically July 2021. They did a 4-for-1 stock split, but you can also see that they did a 3-for-2 stock split in 2007, a 2-for-1 in 2006, a 2-for-1 in 2001, and a 2-for-1 in 2000. So they've done a few. They've been, broken up quite nicely. They've never done anything more than a 4-for-1. So do we think that they could do a stock split soon? And what could that multiple actually be? I have been saying for quite a number of months now that I am very much anticipating a stock split for Nvidia in 2024. I still absolutely stick to that. I thought that maybe it would come during earnings. It hasn't. I am anticipating that it will come very, very soon. I don't know that. Just looking at the history and when, companies decide to split their stock, Nvidia is like a perfect candidate, really. So then we have to ask ourselves, okay, well, if they are likely to do one, given how quickly the stock has gone up and how we are anticipating future growth, literally they are, and Nvidia themselves are anticipating future growth. The guidance is strong. We as investors, people that are analyzing the trends, the AI boom, customers, enterprises are requiring Nvidia's products, all of that stuff. We are anticipating growth. We expect them to do a stock split. So what price would they actually decide to split the stock at? Well, let's just think about what they did last time. So I believe that they announced that they were doing a split in May 2021. At that time, the shares of Nvidia were trading for about $560 per share. And then by the time the stock split actually came, the shares were about $760 per share, maybe $800, that sort of range. So a lot of people were thinking that, okay, Nvidia will probably do what they did before and announce a stock split when the stock gets to about $800 per share. It has been at 800, it keeps sort of falling lower then going back up. So maybe they're going to wait until it's, comfortably above 800 and then announce a stock split. Maybe they will wait till $900. Maybe they'll even wait to $1,000. If they end up waiting till the stock reaches $1,000, I am definitely anticipating a much bigger multiple than just a 2-for-1 stock split. We could see a 4-for-1. We could even end up seeing a 10-for-1 or something crazy like that. Amazon did a famous stock split actually where they did a 20-to-1 stock split. So it is possible. And it's also very useful to say that in 2021, when Nvidia actually did do a stock split, they had a very, very good result after doing so. It's not to say that that stock split then caused the stock price to go up and that was the only reason. There would have been many, many factors, but it definitely proved successful. They did a 4-for-1 stock split, like I said, and in less than 2 years from that date, Nvidia stock was back up over $400 per share. So let's now talk about what impact a stock split would actually have on Nvidia's stock price. Typically speaking, and this is not guaranteed by any means, this is just what tends to happen, after the announcement of a stock split, the stock price goes up. After a stock split happens, the stock price goes up. So typically a stock split temporarily affects the stock price, normally in the positive direction if it is a normal stock split and not a reverse stock split. Now the reason that this tends to happen, once again, is all about the perceived value. So two main things happen. One, the stock price is now a lot lower. Instead of $800 per share, it's $400, it's $100. And people see that and therefore they think that it's less risky. They think they're getting more value for their money. They get excited. They then start buying shares. They think it's a lot cheaper for them to invest into whatever stock because it is now lower. They know that it's had a massive run up recently. They want to see that same growth for themselves. They get a bit of FOMO. They buy. Supply versus demand. Therefore, the demand for the stock shoots right up. People put loads of money in. The supply goes down. The stock price goes up. Number two is people get excited. Like I said, quite often a company will announce a stock split because they know that the company has been performing very, very well and they anticipate that to continue or get better in the future. Investors seeing that happen and knowing what a stock split actually means, then get excited about the future growth of a company and add money in. Again, demand versus supply, stock price up. These are short-term fluctuations normally. It doesn't normally, you don't normally see a stock split and then the stock price shoots up by 20% and then just carries on going. It is normally short-term, but that is what we tend to see. So although stock splits don't actually impact on a stock's fundamentals, apart from giving us insight into positive sentiments, positive guidance that the company has, all of that stuff, they do normally actually increase the trading volumes. Therefore, we typically see the stock price go up. With all that said, I am hopeful, I am excited, I am anticipating that Nvidia will announce a stock split soon. If they don't, I'll continue to buy. It doesn't change my thesis on the company at all. If they do, fantastic. Again, doesn't change my thesis. It's just very bullish and I kind of expect to see that given everything that's happened, all the reasons that I've spoken about in this video. But let me know. Do you think Nvidia are going to announce a stock split? When do you think that might be? And what sort of stock split do you think it will be? A 2-for-1, a 4-for-1? Let me know in the comments below. Like I said, my workshop is available if you want to dive in deeper on how to research stocks. Maybe you want a step-by-step process. You want to see how to find particular stocks, all of that good stuff. Link is in the description. Thanks for watching this impromptu video. I hope you found it interesting and useful, and I'll see you next time in another video.